This 13th floor video session is powered by The Rock Shop. Hi, welcome to the 13th floor. I'm Marty Duda. Today we're excited to have Street Chant up here for our video session. How you doing?
Good.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy to be here.
Yeah, we're pretty happy to have you here. It's pretty cool. And you should just mention you are Emily and
I'm Billie.
Billie.
Hey, I'm Billie.
And over on the side is
Chris.
Drummer Chris. So you've just released your new album, which I have in my grubby little hands here. We'll hold it up to the camera. I can't pronounce the name of it, as we just discussed. I'll give it a shot.
Good.
Hauora? No.
Hauora.
Hauora.
You need to do,
I guess
the thing is to have your tongue flip.
Yeah.
Flick up
I'll
the top of
practice
your
it
mouth.
by myself, and I'll come back and see how we've done. But anyway, what does it mean?
It's a Māori word, obviously, which is perhaps why you might.
It is.
It's easier for us because we grew up.
Right. See, I can pronounce American Indian words better.
Yeah.
I can say Wisconsin, Michigan.
Yeah. I didn't even know they were American Indian. That's pretty cool. But it's a concept that Māori people recognise as a state of health or well-being.
Right.
So there's it's actually the four walls of the whare, which is a house, and you need to have all these four walls, otherwise you don't have your well-being or your hauora. So it's your physical, your spiritual, your social, and your mental. Otherwise, I don't know, I sometimes feel in the Western world, people just only associate it with the physical.
Right.
And so we named it after that. It's kind of, I remember when they teach that word in health class.
Right.
And they did when I was at school. I'm pretty sure they probably still do. And I remember when I first heard that word, I was like, that's buzzy, I guess, because I was going through puberty, and that's not such a great time for your hauora for a lot of people, you know.
Throws things off.
And then, but then also, the album is sort of loosely the concept of this cover is that's where we recorded it, and that's my old house. It was a rotting piece of crap. They charged us way too much money in just because it was in Grey Lynn.
Oh, of course.
And so that was my whare, and my hauora was failing.
It all makes sense. How are you feeling now?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
It's good to not live in a damp home anymore. And I don't know, I guess this album was just a struggle in general.
Because it took 6 years since the previous album, right? So.
Yeah, well, I guess we only worked on it for maybe 4, but it was, a long time, long gestation period, and kind of just drove me mad.
Yeah.
And living in that house as well, it was just no sunlight and just,
Okay.
I'm a happy person.
All right, well, we'll talk some more about the making of the album, but we're going to hear some songs from you guys as well. And the first one is off of the album. It's called Pedestrian Support League. What can you tell me about that song?
That's one of the first ones that we wrote for the album, actually. That song is probably the most about living in that house, and, it was always raining. It's one of the lyrics, it's always raining except for when I want. Sometimes when you want it to rain, you're lying in bed and you're all cozy. But then other times when you have to walk to the supermarket or dry your clothes, and just that. And just, I don't drive. I feel like pedestrians have no respect in this city.
It's a tough place to walk around in, because I do mostly walking since I'm in the middle of the city. And you're taking your life into your hands most of the time.
Yeah.
So I guess I think I kind of had a joke with my flatmate that we needed to start a union for pedestrians.
A pedestrian support league. There, that makes sense now. All right, well, let's give it a listen, and then we'll come back and talk some more.
All right. It's always raining, except for when I want.
commitments, or even just a job. Fight down, you've got to turn now. In the morning, when I have gone, folks who run and somewhere goes, will everyone chances like I said. You've been stumbling round it, fight to get twice as much done in half the time. Face it, take the lightness, perpetual painless, throw away the stereo. Settle down, riding my echo, stealing my soul, and don't think that I don't know. That sound, seven-tape bound, to make a profit out of a problem child. Fight down, forever try now, jumping through the evening. In the morning, when I have gone back to that place I can find the books you don't and so it goes. Everyone dresses like I said it. You were stumbling around it, fight to get success, running half the time, and taking the stage to crack their line. So I don't do one more line now. I've got a piece of my head, I don't know how it got there. And I've got a piece of my head, I don't know how it got there.
Okay, we're back here with Street Chant with Emily and we have
Emilia Drosa.
Adrosa. Sorry, you're right. I mean, of course you're right. It's
I
your
would,
name.
I would like it. Emilia Drojan sounds like a erosion.
cool.
I think I was thinking of Eric Bedrosian, and but he's
know
an
who that
actor.
is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so I got confused. Pardon me. And Billy is
me and him always get mixed
yeah,
up. It's like-
fair enough. All right, so let's talk about the making of this album because it did take you a long time.
Yeah.
What was going on? Is there a simple reason for it, or is it very complex?
I'm kind of one of those people that's a bit, time just slips away from me, especially with this album. I kind of just got a little bit too much of a perfectionist about it in sort of every aspect, like the lyrics, the guitars, and the guitar tone. Like everything was re-recorded so many times. You know, a hard drive died once.
Right.
Lost everything. Like there's stuff like that. We basically had the whole thing recorded and then scrapped it. just because I wasn't happy with, I can't even remember what. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's like
You were less.
a mixture of a lot of things, you know, like there was some bad luck, like some like bad band dynamics, and
Right.
also, yeah, and definitely we cared so much, you know, and that was a big part of why it took so long, because we wanted it to sound exactly how we wanted it to sound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the two of you have been together through the whole thing.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what kind of relationship dynamic is going on between the two of you? Because it must have been, I imagine, some ups and downs along the way.
Well, we've been friends now. We've been friends since we were teenagers, so we've been friends for like 10 years now.
Yeah.
And
I guess sisterly would be one word, maybe.
now,
Yeah.
Now,
yeah,
Well,
now,
no, during, you know, the whole time as well, because I guess like we've like gone full circle
yeah,
a few times, you know, but we sort of trust in our relationship
I have-
creatively
yeah.
and friendship wise.
right.
I think we've got a good balance now. It's hard. I have to say, like, being in a band with someone is, and in a band that, I mean, at that point, you know, we were going over to all these music industry showcases, and to a point, maybe it did get a bit like we were reaching for something.
Mhm.
I don't know what quite that was, but being in a band, unless you're just doing it for being down at the pub, which I think is the reason why you should be doing it.
Right.
But I guess like we got a little bit convoluted by people whispering in our ears, music industry people. But it's the hardest thing in the world. Like, it's the weirdest relationship you'll ever have, because you're all working together towards this goal, but at the same time, it's a creative thing, and everyone wants to have their say, and it's just really strange. You know, like it's you have to work together, but then it's also a very social thing.
Mhm.
But then you're kind of all wanting, I don't know.
And you're doing it for love, and you know, at the end
Yes.
of the day, and
At
then
the end of the day, because there's not a lot of money in it these days. is
No.
there?
So it's like kind of hard at times to, you know, keep going.
Right.
You know, because I guess sometimes you have that thought of like, why am I
Why-
here?
why
You
am I
know?
doing
and then
this? Yeah.
and then you realize, but it's definitely hard.
And particularly with Street Chant, it seems like there's a lot of stuff that is surrounding the band, but we don't hear a lot of talk about the actual music. So maybe tell me about the music a little bit. I mean,
I think that's a shame. I think it's because I have a big mouth, and like obviously that's a more like interesting thing probably than the music. But like also I put so much of myself in the music that like it can be disappointing that maybe people don't talk about the music enough, because it's good,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, we believe-
and it's taken
we
me a
believe
long
in the
time to
music.
like actually say that like I think it's good. Like,
Right.
why else do you do it? Like, I was thinking about the other day, to even get up and perform a song, even to just a friend on the couch, you have to have like, people can pretend that they're all like, oh, I think I suck, I'm just an artist, but like there must be some degree of like, why else do you do it?
right.
You know?
You got to have something pushing you to do that. You need to do it, or there's a certain amount of ego involved, and ego,
Yeah.
there is a song, ego is not a dirty word. It was Skyhooks that sang that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you have to come to terms with that, I guess.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. So for me and for us, I think like the thing about our music is that for this album we wanted to make pop music,
Right.
and that's not a dirty word.
Right.
And we wanted it to be heavy, and you know we have the way that we are with 3-piece band, guitar, bass, drums. So we have that. That's what we have to make this music with, and we wanted it to be interesting, and we wanted the lyrics to be good. You know, like more interesting than say like, you know, I love garage rock music, but sometimes it's just like 4 chords and a whole lot of attitude or whatever. We wanted it to kind of be a little bit more thoughtful,
Mm-hmm.
and we wanted people, especially people in New Zealand, to be able to relate to it. So
Cool.
that's that.
All right. The next song we're going to hear is kind of the heaviest one of the 3 that you're doing. It's Insides. Anything you want to talk about before we hear it?
This was the first song that we wrote for the album. I actually wrote the song when I was about 16 or 17. And it's been reshaped and stuff. But since then, it's another one. It's the same. It's kind of about just reasonable poverty, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you spend
Kind of
all your
raw
money.
there.
There's always going to be like 3 days where you run out of money,
Right.
and you've got none left, and
Yeah.
it's hard. But also privilege.
Right. Okay, well, let's give it a listen and we'll come back and talk a little bit more.
Yeah.
Easy way to get away. You just close your eyes and take the drink, cafes to rip, and your fish and the file. But then you check it, breathing and set it with this phone routine. We're going with confidence, so back you think about your holiday plans. Slow, when there's nowhere to go. Up in the street and up to the road. So now you're worried, there's so much to do and we're in a hurry. We start a world war, but don't ever get your inside. Advice and nothing think twice as you calendar lots to do. And on the straight side of your leg while your boss is picture of you. The fishing crackers, a nasty habit as your getaway car breaks down. Who's fatigues and lies to be, and then you drown. Strange, when they fall apart, they still be a plan, they still be a part. And wait for the bus. Future so bright. And the next song. All of the worries are not like the worries. There's so much to do and we're in a hurry. We start a world war, but that never gets your inside. 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 And do what they must. Hope the fiction comes in, for the nerve comes out. All of the worries are now in a worry. There's so much to do and we're in a hurry. We start a world war, but they'll never take our inside. Inside. Inside.
All right, we're back with Street Chant. One more time, one more song. I have a couple of things that I wanted to ask you about before I let you go. I saw you guys at the King's Arms a little while ago. It was a great show. You enjoyed it immensely. But you made a lot of comments about how you thought that you were going to be retiring and this was like the last thing. And I was wondering what that all was about.
I don't know. I guess that was a weird show. Like, I kind of don't remember being on stage, and I just remember being like, I think like for this album, obviously, you know, we talked about how long it took, and then that was the final show of the tour, and
Right.
it was the King's Arms, and we were like, we want to play we always knew that we wanted to play the King's Arms for that album release show, and it was just a very surreal experience to be there. And I don't know, I'm moving overseas, so but we'll keep going because tickets are cheap, and also we've got a whole album ready anyway.
You have another album ready to go?
Yeah, we're not going to take so long this time.
Smart move.
It was coming quicker now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think I say things sometimes
I mean,
for the sake of it.
I would have ignored it if you said it once, but you were repeating it
I think
throughout
that,
the thing. And
yeah, I
thought,
don't
what's
even
going
remember
on
saying
here?
it.
In the moment, maybe.
Yeah.
I just think I was like, oh, you know, well,
We
I
were
might.
exhausted. We were pretty tired.
That tour was hell, you
Right.
know. That tour, I mean, we've talked about it a lot, but, you know, like, our money got stolen off us. Like, I fell over and, like, busted my
Busted
chin,
your chin,
and it was just a very hard tour. It was kind of perfect for this album. It was like anything that could go wrong did, and it got up there at the King's Arms, and I was just like, wow, yeah.
I even cried, and I never.
And it's stressful. Like, I remember I was just so drained, and like, I put out this article on the spin-off. Like,
Right. Well,
week.
that was my second question. I was going to ask you about the kind of feedback and the reactions to all that, because it was one of those things that was going to generate some kind of reaction from people one way or another, and I'm wondering what that was like for you.
It was really exhausting, and I think that's like probably why, like, when I got on stage, because we come to our shows early to see all the support bands and do the door and stuff like that, and I was just walking around and I had so many women come up to me and thank me, and then the next thing after that would be they would tell me their experiences,
right.
and also men, like, people just wanted to talk about it,
right.
And I'm really happy that people wanted to talk about it, but if every single conversation that you have is about sexual assault and gender politics, man, it gets tiring, and then you've got to go up and perform a rock show. Like,
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were wanting to have conversations with me and sending me messages and asking me questions on the radio as well. And like,
right.
I do the article Emily did, so I can only imagine, like, I was finding it stressful, and it wasn't
I
me.
can imagine,
you
yeah.
know? Yeah.
Well, it's a thing that seems to be swirling around in the general thing everywhere these days. They're talking about it, and obviously you're more fit to talk about it than I am. So,
well, it's real, and it's kind of people just have probably had enough of it, and I don't know. I don't know if it's because I'm a bit older now, and I kind of almost feel like I have nothing to lose but talk about it. But I used to feel like if I was going to talk about it or stuff like that, our music would be marginalized into being like Riot Girl, or which
right.
I mean, like, I have nothing wrong with that, but a part of me wants,
right.
you know.
Well, I did notice in the article and in your comments, you would make comments like that, and then you would kind of backtrack and say, but it's not bad. It's which makes perfect sense, because there are two ways to look at all of those different issues, and you can look at it as being marginalized, or you can look at it as like, oh no, this is where I fit in things, and this is how people categorize, and it's just a normal way of doing it, you know?
Perhaps, but when I write my songs, I'm not writing it. Most of my music, and I'm starting to write more in that way because I think it's real and it's important. But most of my music, it's not. It's more universal. It's not. I'm not writing about gender politics, and for me, like, female is not a genre, and I think that, like, a lot of the time, a lot of people think of it like that. They hear it, they go, "Oh, girl music," you know.
I mean, I'm an old guy, and I was doing radio back in the '70s in the States, and I remember my program director telling me that they didn't want to play two female artists back to back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't play Pat Benatar and Joan Jett back to back because for some reason it felt wrong to them, which was insane. And I remember thinking, what?
Yeah.
It's because I don't know. I don't understand, like, why. It makes me want to record an album with like a pitch shifter. Well, but my voice is fairly low anyway. It's like when I sing and stuff. So I don't know. It's just kind of annoying, but
I mean, I guess, like, it's good that all these conversations are happening and people are asking Emily and I what we think, and people are talking amongst their social groups and things like that. And, like, hopefully that means that the culture is going to change, you know.
But at the same time, I said my experiences, and they're not everyone's experiences. And also, like, I understand that I had that platform, but I'm also white, and, like, I'm a woman, like, I'm gay, whatever, but, like, there are people who are way more in the shadows than us who don't have that, and I don't know. I love this conversation.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about some music again.
Yeah.
Okay, Melbourne. This is the last song that we're going to hear from you.
Our favorite, maybe.
This is my favorite. I can never get tired of playing this song. I can sometimes really, I can't remember if I did it on this performance, but I can really get to that place where it's like, oh, the song's over. and I don't think about anything else. I think about nothing, but not in like a...
In a way that you're enjoying it.
Yeah, and so this was a love song. It's about my ex-girlfriend. She moved to Melbourne, as a lot of young people do, and then we broke up, and it was very hard for me. I think at the time I was listening to like a lot of Amy Winehouse, and I was really into that. I think lyrically I was into that. I don't know, I think it's one of more real. I'm not trying to be clever in that song, it's just real. And it's, yeah, I think it's probably one of my favorite songs I've ever written.
Fantastic. Well, good way to go out. All right, let's give it a listen. Thank you guys for coming and
Thank
playing
you so much
for
for
me.
having
it's
us.
Fantastic. And good luck. I can't wait for the next album, which I assume it'll be out next week.
It will be, man. On vinyl too.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
So hard, so cold, and maybe we'll get back together, maybe someday when we're old, to find real slow. I'm pouring out the details just when I'm ready to go. Little space for two, just to wear through. All your secrets, but the ones that you don't know. Try to catch your breath, drowning the bed. If it's not over this time, then it won't ever be. Get jealous on the wire, still no one's listening. My heart speeds up my mind, won't you catch up with me? Oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 cry down the hall. Yeah, now I've got you where I want you, but I don't want you at all. Get high, so I crawl into the evening and pray you've just lost your phone. Yeah, you're gonna miss me when you're feeling ugly. If it's not over this time, then it won't ever be. My jacket's all the while, so no one's listening. My heart sees up my mind, won't you catch up with me? Oh, 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 oh. If it's not over this time, then it won't ever be. Get jealous on the wire.